Welcome to another episode of Waypoint Connect, and it's my privilege to welcome Ettiene Hugo. Welcome to Waypoint Connect.
Thank you.
Ettiene, tell us a bit about what you do for a living.
Well, my whole life I've been doing the administration of deceased estates, and started off in the corporate world. And then for the last 8 years, my wife and I have a business called Hugo Trust Services. And we not only do deceased estate administration, we do the drafting and planning of wills, the registration of trusts, and also the administration of trusts.
And how did this change from corporate into doing your own thing? How did that come about for you?
Well, my wife actually was the more faithful one. She actually prayed and saw the vision of us starting our own business. The corporate world is a very cold world with regards to what we do. And, to lose a loved one is it's a very touchy subject and a personal thing. And she always felt that there was a place for us to do that as part of perhaps even a ministry to build the kingdom and to then help people on a personal basis. So she probably prayed about 10 years. I'm a conservative person. I like to earn a salary and know exactly what I'm going to get at the end of the month. Where she saw the vision and the bigger, until I started praying with her. And then on the 1st of April in 2014, we actually went on our own and started working only on commission and no salary. So that was, I think the first 6 months was quite a tough road. I was born and bred in the corporate, so the first day when I was moving boxes around, I actually put on my tie and my smart pants, and my wife said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm moving boxes. This is what I'm used to. I can't work without this." So we've, over the time of the last 8 years, we've changed our corporate colours and looks, and so that's basically our story, and we're doing very well. We're blessed. We've actually started this year, beginning of March. We've actually got somebody in from your congregation, Dirk. He comes in every second day. He's on a contract basis, and he's starting to learn the ropes and starting to do a lot of the dirty work, so to speak. Yeah.
And for you, it was that difficult transition of trusting God, letting go of what I can see, and then saying, this is a step of faith, and this is what I know God's calling me to do, and I don't see how it's going to work out, but I'm trusting Him to provide.
Exactly. If you in these days, in terms of our economic crisis that we're going through, and this was 8 years ago, to take a salary home, 30,000 plus, and that's how you pay your way around.
Bills,
it's really, who are you going to trust now? Are you going to trust the company that you work for to provide, or are you going to trust God? And I'm not saying that everybody should do what I'm doing, but if the calling's there, and you can only resist and dissipate for a certain period of time, and then you have to take the leap of faith and just jump, and that's what we did.
That's amazing. What I've picked up from us talking before the time is that focus on people, but what really struck me coming out of a sales background, car sales, and I just want to say that quietly so that nobody hears, you've got this tendency to judge people, snapshot judgment of people, and I'm pretty sure I can get a deal out of this guy, so that's the person you put the effort in, and they're like, I'd rather pick this guy than that guy. But what I've seen from what you've shared is that for you it's completely different.
Yes, in the once again in the corporate environment, I always, later on became a manager, area manager. I always say to my staff that you should always try and treat people exactly the same, because if you want to look at it from a world point of view in terms of economics, the person that you are working with might not have a lot, but they know a lot of people. So word goes around, and I think from a belief system is that, I've always said that I've got this passion, this love for older people. Older, I'm saying now. You know, my age now becomes older people.
Yeah.
Because they are very, very vulnerable out there, and people take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And you know, if we go to the scriptures, you know, for one is I always stand on the fact that God said we must always look after the widows and the orphans. So there's a reason why He said that. Because I know how people can take disadvantage or advantage of you know, of widows and orphans. And then the second thing is, you know, I also believe Jesus actually loved not only the poor, but the poor and you know, but also the rich, because when the rich guy came to him and said, you know, what must I do to follow you? And he said, you know, you must sell everything. Saying actually, in inverted commas, get rid of what controls you, who's your God. He actually loved that rich guy just as much as he loved the widow with the oil, for instance. So we always try. Every file of every person that passes away over there has got somebody has lost a loved one, and that's what we always try and do. Is we try and make it personal. We try and treat everybody the same. If the estate comes in, you know, we don't look and see, you know, what are the fees and how much and
what's the value
what's
in
the
what
value
we're
of it.
doing
No,
now.
no, we try.
The value isn't in the file and
No.
what the return for the
No,
company.
no,
The
no.
value
Yeah.
is in making a difference in that person's family.
Yes, and you know, Hugo Trust Services, you know, we've always, you know, it's almost like we not secretly, but we HTS. I mean, that's Hugo Trust Services, and we've always said it's hope, trust, and salvation. That's actually what and we've got a little dove with a little olive branch, so hope. You know, and that's exactly what we try and bring. We try and help people in their most vulnerable situations, and when they're very sad, and we have to always try and remember that with every person you work, whether the person's got a lot or doesn't have a lot. They've got the same hurt and the same sadness that they've got for what they've lost.
Yeah, and I think that's such a important thing for us as South Africans,
Yes.
because we've got this big disparity between
Yes.
those that have
Yes,
and those
yes.
that don't, and we
Yes.
kind of tend to deal with people from that perspective.
Yes.
And if we can change that, where we treat everybody with the same level of acknowledging their dignity and respect,
Yes.
I think our society as a whole will be different.
And you know, it's wherever we come, whether we at the shopping centre with the
Cashier.
with the cashier over there, or the guy putting the petrol in. You know, I've picked up that they really appreciate it if you take the time to chat to them, and
Acknowledge them as a
and
person.
acknowledge them as a person. Yes, and I think that's, you know, that's if we look at the gospel, it's love. I mean, that's what everything revolves about love. So if we can truly love, not only ourselves but others, and we love God first off, then it's all about love. So that's what we try and do. It's not all just plain sailing, you know, I must say to you, because you must remember that if somebody has hurt, then sometimes they look for somebody to take it out on.
Yeah.
So I don't always take it personal. You know, if somebody gets upset with me and they can't understand why the Department of Justice are taking as long as they are with the issuing of a letter of executorship, for instance, then I try and put mine in their shoes, and I try and explain to them exactly what the process is and why we are, you know, are not where we want to be in terms of the administration process at a certain time.
And if somebody wants to get hold of you to have access either to information or say, listen, I don't have a will,
Yes.
I would like to get a will, or I don't have
yes.
the executive for my estate, would you
Abs-
handle that? How do people get hold of you?
Absolutely. Look, as I said to you, I'm conservative, so in terms of getting the new guys in, like Devolt, you know, we're looking at having a web page.
Yeah, so what you're saying is we're not going to find you on TikTok?
No, you won't. You'll find Hugo Trust Services on Facebook, but I think it's totally outdated. So I think, you know, the best thing would be, you know, remember that if you want to send me an email, it's very easy. I normally use my personal one because it's easy. It's Ettiene Hugo @gmail.com. The Ettiene is spelled 2 T's and 1 N. My mom always said, my mom said I was unique because it wasn't that she couldn't spell. So it's Ettiene Hugo @gmail.com. Or you're welcome to phone me on my cell. my cell is 084 240 6141. So it's 084 240 6141. And I think in terms of my one daughter, Shante, she's Rochelle is the arty one, and Shante is the teacher. I think it comes in the blood. I actually afterwards, in hindsight, when I went and studied BCom, I said to myself afterwards I should have studied teaching because I love showing people things. So anybody's welcome to ask me questions. If somebody wants to say to me, Ettiene, look at my wall, see if it's still applicable. I'm not there to try and steal them over from somebody else, but I'm pretty sure that with the service they're going to get, and we are going to probably get the person as a client.
Awesome. Ettiene, thank you very much for taking the time out to be here with us, and thank you for your heart in terms of dealing with people, because you're not dealing with estates, you're dealing with bereaved family members, and that human touch is just so important. So thank you for that empathy that you're
It's only a pleasure,
sharing
Dirk.
with them as well. And feel free, if you want to make use of Ettiene's services, definitely reach out, get connected, and I know from our conversations and from knowing your children that you'll give them a great service.
Thank you very much, Dirk.
And remember, have a great week.